Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. I'm going to take you along with me for a day on the farm today, and I have a ton of stuff to cover. I'm going to explain, well, let me get out the list here. Why did I start this farm? What are my goals for this farm? How we make a small farm profitable? Why I put our farm on YouTube? What's important about small farms, and things that run contrary to our ideals. I'm going to have a busy day today getting my farm work done, as well as covering a ton of information. So hang with me and we'll start with morning chores. Every day starts with the morning commute out to the pasture to take care of the chickens. The overriding idea behind our farm is pasture raising all of our animals. We keep them on grass. And yep, it's manual labor. Do I mind the manual labor? No. Why did I start this farm? Well, I always yearned to be connected for and to care for a place. I think that's at the root of most of our environmental problems. Finding a place and making it a part of yourself and keeping it healthy as you would yourself is so important. I deeply believe in it. Sustainability is at the root of what we do, making the land healthier. But sustainability is more than just the environment. It's about the social interactions we have, and I feel like too many people have lost place. They're disconnected. And the result is we have more and more places, pieces of land where people don't feel connected to the place and they use it rather than caring for it as a part of themselves. Release the chickens. We target selling to our community, which I consider to be about a 20-mile radius around our farm. I feel like that's the future. I think that one of the problems with centralized agriculture is the shipping distances and the lack of resiliency in that centralized food system. I wanted to sell that food directly to the people who will eat it so that they understand how their food was grown and further understand what the plight of the modern farmer is. Baby chicks are here, baby chicks are here. I wanted to find the best combination of new and traditional farming methods. I'm not about living in the past, and small farming done in a progressive way is not looking back toward the past, but rather is looking toward the future. So I use science to inform the way we farm, and it happens to include some traditional methods. And it has to provide the best quality of life for my family, my 3 kids, my wife, and I, with no employees. I've had enough of having employees. And just in case you're doubting, yes, small farms can still do that in this day. I'm out to prove that. What's so important about small farms anyway? Well, up until 30 or 40 years ago, small farms were the bedrock of this country. They covered the rural landscape. They were major economic engines for small communities, and they employed a significant percentage of the population. You can't overestimate their impact on our culture and way of life. If you grew up in the country, you lived on a farm, next to a farm, or worked on a farm. Farming touched everyone in the country. Community businesses made their living supporting the small farm system. Hardware stores, feed mills, repair shops. The list goes on and on. This country's founding fathers were almost all small farmers, and their value system still largely permeates the country today. But now most of the small farms are gone, and we're suffering because of it. It's a product of a demand for greater efficiency, bigger farms producing commodities at lower cost, driven by the American desire to buy more with less. And it's a product of our government meddling in farm economics via farm subsidies and policy. It is not the product of the need to feed the world. That's a myth. I believe that small farms will play an essential role in feeding the world in the coming decades. Hi, little pigs. What's the toll? Does it really matter? After all, that's progress, right? Here's the toll: small farms being eaten up by larger farms, less people employed by farms, the death of small towns in the Midwest, the industrialization of the once idyllic rural landscape, and less businesses able to make a living supporting small farms. It's the way of the world, right? Get bigger, conglomerate. It's not so good for public health. And the cultural impact is immeasurable. It's contributed to our loss of a sense of place. It's resulted in generations who never learned the value and rewards of hard work on a farm, and it's contributed to the corporatization of America, where people and communities have lost control of their own destiny. Instead, their destiny is determined by the economics of efficiency and the goal of corporate profits, which are often at odds with human welfare. Can you see why I think small farms are so important? The good news is, not all is lost. There's a rising tide of new small farms across the country, and we're one of them. And this rising tide of small farms, how do they do it? How do they make a living on a small acreage? I guess the calves got scared by the stampede. Come on, guys! What a bunch of belly acres you are! There are several key factors that the new generation of successful small farms share, and it is how they, and we, are thriving in a sea of corporate dominance. We sell directly to consumers, capturing the profits that distributors, shippers, and supermarkets usually make. We locate ourselves near population centers that understand the importance of small farms and local food. We grow products that are differentiated from the supermarkets, heritage livestock breeds, heirloom vegetables and fruit, and we charge a premium for better quality. We help each other to spread the word about the importance of small farms and seek to help other small farms that are just getting started. We want this movement to spread collectively. We are careful about our expenses and debt. We often buy the equipment that the larger farms don't want anymore because it's cheap. We save before starting our farm, or we have an off-the-farm part-time job. And if we're young, we often lease marginal land to start our farm cheaply. We marry ourselves to our communities, focusing on local sales and weekly regular customers. Some ship to the nearby big cities, but almost none ship across country, because the small farm and its community are partners in success. We sell at farmers markets and from our farms to local restaurants and food markets. Many of us view what we're doing not only as a business, but as a noble cause, and we seek to keep our prices as low as we can to appeal to the broadest demographic of customers, even though what we do is an awfully hard living. Because we don't have the luxury of huge farms, we use our small acreages in very creative ways, growing an amazing amount of livestock and produce off of just a few acres. Most of these new small farmers are college educated, and many of them, this is their second life. They had a career before this, and they're looking to find new ways to do things. Well, we've come full circle to the afternoon feeding of the pigs, and this is the time for me to talk about why I put our farm on YouTube. I wanted to show to everybody who would watch that small farms can be successful without outside revenue. We're farmers who happen to be on YouTube. We're not YouTubers who farm. There's a big difference. Now, I did have an old job, and I had savings from that old job when we started, but those savings are long gone. Our farm has provided for all of our income for the last 3 years. I take no money from sponsors or accept free products from farming companies. In order for this channel to succeed in its mission, what I said before, it has to be genuine. That's why I don't do it. And this channel does not exist as a mechanism to sell my products to people who view the channel. I had never intended that. As I said, as a small farm, our mission is to provide for our community. That's why I've said again and again, we don't ship products. Our farm was successful before YouTube ever came along. I was in this for 6 years before I started a channel, and we're continuing on the same way we always have. The farm pays for our income. Any money I make off YouTube, I wisely save for a rainy day or put toward my retirement. It hasn't changed our life. I started this channel because I loved public speaking in my old job, and I wanted to do that. And I also think that reconnecting with the land is important for a lot of people, and I wanted to be able to help them do that, to kind of show them a way via what I'd been through. And I want to show farming as a respectable profession. It's not just about brute force, but you use your head a whole lot. It can be a very creative and intelligent way to spend your life. And I think that more people in that sort of mindset can be happy farming. There are lots of small farmers around here that are just like me. They've had prior lives and they enjoy what they do. It's mentally stimulating, just like their old jobs were, maybe even more so. And I truly, truly believe in my heart of hearts that small farms will become even more important than they are now in the coming decades. We've seen how fragile that centralized food systems are for all kinds of reasons. COVID showed one of its fragilities, but there are a lot more. And the more people I can get to start small farms, I think the safer and happier we'll all be. So I view my job here on YouTube as a teacher, as a mentor, and as a cheerleader. I feel the best when I'm able to help somebody figure out how to put the pieces together to make their small farm work. Next topic, things that run counter to our ideals. Well, I've covered some of them already. Growth beyond a certain extent is counter to our ideal. As a small farm, serving the community and being a family farm, growth is what I explained in the last video. I hope everybody could understand. The second thing, we are opposed to having banks involved in our farm in any way, and they're involved now via credit card transactions. I think that banks are one of the main things that led to the downfall of successful farming throughout the 20th century. I will not get them involved if I don't have to. Third thing, sponsors. Sponsors make the channel not real, in my opinion. I'll never accept them. Fourth thing, shipping products or catering specifically to YouTube viewers. I won't do it. This is a working community farm. There are several what I would call annoyances to being on YouTube as a creator. I don't know what you think on the other side of the camera, but having 1,000 comments a day come in, and I read them all, it can be discouraging, it can be enraging, and it's impossible for me to just turn those off. If YouTube didn't have a comment section, I would probably be a happier guy. And I know I can turn them off, but YouTube doesn't like that. I put a lot of time into making these videos. I spend the better part of a day filming them usually, and I spend 4 to 6 hours in the evenings editing them before they come out. It's not just me grabbing my phone and wandering around the farm and then uploading it. That's a lot of work, and I do it because I think it will benefit people. Sometimes, I guess hurt's not the right way, but, or the word, but it's hard for me when I put a lot of energy into something like the video I did on growth 2 days ago, and I get a lot of random comments back about fly control and making friends with the pigs. I wanted to have a conversation about something that was a lot more important than either of those topics, and I'm not going to stop them. Like I have said before, trying to say something on YouTube is like spitting into a hurricane. It just doesn't work. This video may be fine, but the next video, all those comments will be right back. So I guess it's something I need to learn to live with. It's really hard. It's like you have somebody poking you with a needle all the time, all day sometimes, with some types of comments that you get. And I'm sure you've seen my annoyance in some of the comments I've replied to. I apologize if I'm too harsh, but you got to put yourself in my shoes as well. So I'm not asking for you to be gentle on me, but realize it's not the easiest job in the world. I guess what sums up the feelings about my whole thing is I try to make thoughtful videos and I hope to receive thoughtful comments. Well, wow, that was a lot to cover in one video, and I hope it was beneficial. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.